Hi, my name is Eve Poteet, and I'm going to be talking about epilepsy today. Epilepsy is a disease of the brain which causes seizures which are not temporary, such as in febrile seizures in children. There are many different types of seizures, and how the seizure presents itself is related to the type. In some people, it is hard to know a seizure is actively happening, as in focal seizures where it may look like they are gazing off into the distance. For others, they may experience grand mal type seizures, where part or their whole body becomes rigid and then begins to shake violently, sometimes involving the respiratory system, where they are not actively able to breathe as the brain has literally seized. A prolonged seizure may result in death. Epilepsy is a non-communicable disease. It affects 1.2% of the U.S. population and 3.4 million people worldwide. 470,000 of them are children. 80% of people living with epilepsy live in low to medium income countries. Epilepsy is most often treatable with medications which are already on the market and cost only $5 a year if you don't live in the United States, but 70% of people don't get the help they need. I pay a much higher amount for the same medication for my son's epilepsy treatment, which is what brings me to the last point, the cause. While the cause is sometimes unclear, things that affect the brain such as stroke, traumatic brain injury, brain tumors, and central nervous system infection, as in meningitis, may contribute. My son has epilepsy now because when he was a 13-year-old, he was not wearing a helmet and was in a bike accident, cracking his right temporal skull and enduring 3 brain bleeds. Through God's grace, he didn't die, but it did permanently damage his brain, and he now has grand mal seizures. They are well controlled with Keppra. However, medication alone may not prevent seizures. The other things that help to prevent seizures are a regular sleep schedule, a healthy diet, and avoiding substances which affect the brain such as alcohol and illicit ones. Josh had been seizure-free for 5 years before leaving for college last fall. Luckily, he was on the couch when he had his last seizure and was not driving. But since having one, by law he can't drive for 6 months, which brings me to stigma. There is a huge stigma about epilepsy worldwide. In the Dark Ages, and still in some third world countries, it was thought people with epilepsy were insane. People with epilepsy now lead full and fulfilling lives. With stable epilepsy, people can drive, hold most jobs, and have families and travel. But if they have a seizure, whether at home, in the workplace, or driving, it can have significant impact when people are trying to go to school, hold jobs, and pay bills. This again leads to stigma against the people and the disease. The World Health Organization has created a short video whose goal is to educate the world about the incidence of epilepsy and encourage industrialized nations to help subsidize and understand the importance and delivery of care to those suffering from epilepsy and as a cause for the greater good of the world's health. To view the entire video, please follow in references. Thank you.
The goal of the WHO programme on reducing the epilepsy treatment gap is to support all countries and territories to improve epilepsy care by reducing stigma and improving access to treatment. For example,
This is my piece which supports the original media. I utilize many of the same concepts as discussed in the video and in slide 2, but married them into 6 different Instagram posts to be able to be introduced in social media platforms where many young people reach for their health advice. This is designed to educate the younger audience to help educate about epilepsy and help prevent it in cases of helmet safety, drawing the participant in to click and learn more about the disease. The goal for the World Health Organization is to reduce stigma and increase access to treatment. My personal goal in choosing this topic is much the same. Everyone should know about epilepsy as a provider or friend to be able to educate and encourage people to live the best lives they can, whether in the cases of the ability to prevent it, such as encouraging people to wear a helmet to prevent head injury while skating, skiing, or biking, or in the knowledge a friend or loved one has epilepsy and how you can support them. Lastly, as providers, we should also be asking our patients not only what seizure medicine they take, but how is their sleep and healthy habits as well in relationship to help reduce the stigma and improve health. Thank you for taking the time to watch my presentation. I encourage any dialogue in the chat box below. References are as follows.